Hey, welcome back to the Goggle and Jack channel. In this video, we'll look at the Case 62-131. It's a Canoe in carbon steel. And at the very end, I'll give you a bonus feature. I'll show you a little summer pruning in the garden. Okay, let's get into it. My wife and I spent a few days in Gatlinburg and around the Sevierville area. And I went to Smoky Mountain Knives. That was one of my must-see attractions every time I go over there. And we try to make a trip over there, 3 or 4 times a month. And I really enjoy shopping in the store because you can find a case knife that doesn't have blade rub or gapping in the bottom if you're willing to look through a few. And it's a shame that you have to do that, but I understand. I mean, they put out millions and millions of knives, so, you can understand they're going to have some quality control issues. But really, gapping and a little blade rub doesn't hurt anything. So for folks like us who might be collecting these things, it matters to us, but probably more than it should, because it's just a pocket knife. And but you are paying a hefty price. I mean, it's an expensive pocket knife as far as pocket knives go. So you have to weigh it yourself. Is it worth it? I think it is. I think if you get a good one, and if you look around, you're willing to look around, you can get an excellent knife that will honestly last the rest of your life, or maybe even the rest of your children's lives. You may hand this down to grandchildren. I have my grandfather's knives and I have my dad's knives, so it's not inconceivable that these things could last for several generations. And you can still use them, and they'll last for several generations. So look at the bone on this one. It's just absolutely beautiful. This is, of course, the peach seed jigged bone. I have another one that is a case, let's see, this is a 6375. And, there's a lot of variation in color, sometimes from one side to the other. But that just adds to the character of the knife. This is another amber jigged bone, but this one is made to look like stag. Same material, just a different jigging process. This is a sow belly Stockman, and this is a Canoe. Beautiful knife. There is a little blade rub on the end here, and I did that. I did that, and I knew better, but I did it. When you push just a little bit over, you're going to hit the tang of the pen blade. So that's one source of blade rub. Another source of blade rub is opening the pen blade into the spade blade. Or it's not a spade blade, it's a spear point blade. And I love this blade shape. I love a blade shape that is on the Canoe. I have another Canoe. This is a Queen. And that is a very strong blade shape. Very useful, though. It still has a point on it. And the etching on this, you can tell I've used it already. And I'm going to use it. I use my knives. The etching of an Indian in a canoe is really nice. I saw one in a flea market, and it wasn't laser etched like this. It was actually engraved into the blade. So there were grooves in the blade for that etching. I wish I had picked it up, but they were wanting a little bit too much money for it. More than I had at the time, or I probably would have picked it up. As this gets a patina, and it will get a patina, it's carbon steel, that whole etching will become less and less prominent. and that's okay. And that mark there is just from vines I've been cutting with it. So I intend to use it, and it will get pocket worn, an honest pocket worn effect to it, because I'm going to wear it in my pocket. And the pins are all set really nice. I checked this over really good in the store, and I looked through a couple before I found one that I was satisfied with. And this is it. All the pins and transitions are really smooth. And I just think the bone, see, I've already scratched up the bolster. That's okay. This is a pocket knife. I'm going to use it. And there's nothing standing proud. Of course, with the Canoe, you get a great spear point blade. And yeah, watch me do it. I guess I should open that up first. Although I'm not going to. You know I'm not. I'm just going to use it. And it's going to get some honest wear to it. That is a really, really sharp edge. They did the grind on these just beautifully. They're even on both sides. There might be a little bit of a wire on there, but I like my blades kind of toothy, and that one is coming a little toothy, so you just pull it straight out. But I'll forget, and I'll do it again, and that's okay. I used a little case paste and rubbed a lot of that out just for the video. I'll never rub it down again. It will get it'll get scuffed up, and it'll get a really nice patina. And as it develops a patina, I'll show it again. This is the 75, as I've just said. And the pins on this one have got a little bit of splatter. Like when they push these pins in, sometimes some of the brass can kind of peel off there. And you just pick that off. But I really like the peach seed jig. I don't like it as much as the stag. I think the stag looks better, especially that side. But it is attractive. It's really nice. Let's see another jigging pattern. This is also peach seed jig, but a different color. This is mahogany, I think they're calling that color. Really nice trapper. And do I have a corn cob? Yeah, this is a corn cob jig. Looks like a corn cob. So you can get different patterns in the bone, and it's just a different, method of doing it. Actually, I kind of like that. That one right there. That's beautiful. So I'm kind of fond of traditional pocket knives. The thing I like about traditional pocket knives is it slows you down a little bit. You have to pull it out of your pocket. You have to find it in your pocket, pull it out of your pocket, pull out a blade, and then really think about what you're cutting. It's really hard to uncut something. So measure twice, cut once, take your time. It's not going anywhere. Okay, as promised, I'll show you a little bit of summer pruning in the orchard. This is the little apple tree. It's a Fuji, if memory is correct. Set it out this year, maybe, 6 weeks ago. And when I cut it off, I just lopped it off, and it was just a bare stick sticking out of the ground. And I promised you that limbs would grow out. And this is the first flush of growth. And when it gets about that high, I'll chop it off again. And then it will grow to probably about 6-7 feet, where I can just reach up and grab an apple without having to climb a ladder. And that's where I'll leave it. So right now what I want to do is I want to take off any suckers around the bottom. There's quite a few. This thing really wanted to grow, and it did. And then I'm going to pick out maybe 6 for now, limbs that are going in kind of each cardinal direction. So an imaginary north, an imaginary south, east and west. And here's 2 that are growing too close together. And there is definitely a stronger limb here. So I will take that one. It's not hurting anything. And then, so this and these, I'm not sure about these 2. I may pick this one, I may pick this one. So I'm going to leave it. And I'm definitely going to leave this one on the back side because it's the only one growing in this direction. And this one, I think I can get rid of this one. I'm not going to do any more. I'm going to leave it like that. And we'll see where it goes. This is a good leader branch, so kind of a new main trunk. So I may leave that. And I'm probably not going to do much more pruning to this. I'm going to leave it alone till fall of the year. But I did want to get those suckers off, and these 2 were growing too close together, so I didn't want one to get in the way of the other. And looking for any kind of insects. Not finding any. It's looking pretty good. That's hopeful. Fingers crossed. Another thing I'm doing is I'm always looking for problem branches. So this one is growing all the way to the inside. And that is not going to work. And here's a sucker that's just kind of going right into the tree. I want to grow everything toward the outside. So don't need that. And as far as the blackberries go, every time you cut an end off, like if I were to pinch the end of this off, it would grow runners out the side. But I'd rather have it right about the wire. So I'm going down to the next set of branches. Probably should have done this before it got this thick, but that'll work. And then it will branch off and I will attach those to the wire. A brand new sprig that has come up from the roots. And this is the Navajo. And if I just trim the end off, you can just pinch it off. Then that will sprout out and make more. But I don't have as much growth on this bottom wire, so I'm going to take it down to about the level of that wire. And of course I can always tuck off any old branches that I left behind from last year. And here is a good example of some suckers. Right here is the rootstock. This is the fruiting wood, the scion, and here's the rootstock. And I will cut the sucker because this is whatever that rootstock was. And this is the fruit tree that I want. Okay, that's my video. Thanks for dropping by, and I'll see you on the next one.